The diner's neon sign flickered against the rainy Seattle night, casting a soft glow on Ellie Harper's worn sneakers as she wiped down the counter. At 22, Ellie was a fixture at Joe's all-night diner, her warm smile a beacon for truckers, night owls, and the occasional lost soul. Her hands moved with quiet grace, but her eyes held a spark, something restless, untapped. She'd grown up tinkering with broken radios and her dad's old Chevy, teaching herself circuits from library books after her parents passed. Life hadn't been kind, but Ellie had a way of finding light in the cracks. Tonight, the diner was quiet save for the hum of the jukebox and the clatter of dishes. Ellie's shift was nearly over when the door swung open, admitting a man in a crisp suit, his face etched with exhaustion. Behind him trailed a sleek humanoid robot, its movements jerky, its LED eyes dim. The man was Victor Lang, CEO of Nexus Robotics, though Ellie didn't know it then. The robot was Nexus 7, a $10 million prototype meant to revolutionize healthcare. Until it glitched, stumping 40 of the world's best engineers. "Coffee, please," Victor muttered, slumping into a booth. The robot stood awkwardly, its arm twitching. Ellie poured the coffee, her curiosity piqued by the machine. "Rough night?" she asked, her voice gentle but teasing. Victor sighed. "You could say that. This thing's supposed to save lives, but it's a $10 million paperweight. 40 engineers, weeks of work, and nothing." He rubbed his temples. "We're out of time." Ellie glanced at the robot, its sleek frame humming faintly. "Mind if I take a look?" she asked, half joking. Victor raised an eyebrow but shrugged. "Knock yourself out, kid." She grabbed her battered toolbox from under the counter, her, Dad's old set, rusted but reliable. The diner's other patrons, a trucker named Hal and a nurse called Maria, watched with mild amusement as Ellie approached the robot. "Come on, buddy," she murmured. "What's got you all tangled up?" What started as a whim became an obsession. Ellie's fingers danced over the robot's panels, her mind racing. She didn't have degrees or fancy tools, just instinct and a knack for listening, to machines, to people. The robot's wiring was a maze, its code a cryptic poem, but Ellie saw patterns where others saw chaos. She hummed softly, a habit from her dad as she worked. Victor watched, skeptical at first, then intrigued. "You're not just poking around, are you?" he said, leaning forward. Ellie grinned, not looking up. "Machines are like people. They'll tell you what's wrong if you listen." Hours passed. The rain stopped, dawn crept in, and the diner filled with the scent of fresh pancakes. Ellie's hands were smudged with grease, her ponytail fraying, but her eyes burned with focus. Then a soft beep. The robot's LEDs flickered, then steadied. Its arm stopped twitching and it turned its head smoothly, scanning the room. Victor stood, stunned. What did you do?" Ellie wiped her hands on her apron. "Loose neural connector and a corrupted feedback loop. I rerouted the signal and recalibrated the sensory array. It's a Band-Aid, but it'll hold." Victor's jaw dropped. 40 engineers couldn't do that. Who are you?" "Just Ellie," she said, shrugging. "Waitress mostly." But the story didn't end there. Victor insisted on bringing Ellie to Nexus Robotics headquarters. She hesitated. She had bills, a life, and Joe's needed her. But Hal, Maria, and even Joe himself pushed her to go. "You're meant for more, kid," Joe said, his gruff voice soft. At Nexus, Ellie walked into a world of glass and steel, feeling like an imposter in her thrift store jeans. The engineers, initially dismissive, watched in awe as she dissected Nexus 7's flaws, her insights sharp and unpretentious. She didn't just fix the robot, she improved it, suggesting tweaks that made it more intuitive, more human. The team scrambled to keep up. Then came the twist no one saw coming. During a test, Nexus 7 was tasked with assisting a simulated patient, a child in distress. The robot froze, its logic circuits overwhelmed by the child's erratic cries. The engineers panicked, but Ellie knelt beside the robot, her voice steady. "Hey, it's okay. Focus on the heartbeat, not the noise. You can do this." The robot's LEDs pulsed, then stabilized. It adjusted its approach, calming the child with gentle words and precise movements. The room fell silent. Victor, watching from the control booth, realized something profound. Ellie hadn't just fixed the robot's circuits. She'd taught it to feel, or at least to mimic the empathy she carried so effortlessly. The emotional climax came days later. Nexus 7 was unveiled at a global conference, its success hailed as a breakthrough. Victor took the stage, the crowd expecting a corporate speech. Instead, he told Ellie's story, a young waitress who'd outshone a room of experts, not with credentials, but with heart. He called her on stage and the audience rose, their applause thunderous. Ellie, blushing in a borrowed blazer, clutched the mic. "I didn't do this for glory," she said, her voice cracking. "I did it because machines, like people, deserve a chance to be their best. And sometimes all it takes is someone to believe they can." She didn't mention her own struggles, her parents' death, the years of scraping by, the dreams she'd shelved. But her words hit like a wave, reminding everyone that genius isn't always loud or polished. Sometimes it's quiet, selfless, and kind. Victor offered Ellie a job, a scholarship, a future, but she asked for something else: funding for a community tech lab in her neighborhood so kids like her could tinker, dream, and build. Victor agreed, tears in his eyes. Back at Joe's, Ellie still worked the occasional shift, her smile unchanged, but her eyes brighter. The diner buzzed with pride. Her story, a local legend, Nexus 7, now saving lives in hospitals, carried a piece of her. A reminder that the greatest innovations start with a human touch. And as the neon sign flickered on another rainy night, Ellie looked out at the world, her heart full. She'd fixed a robot, sure, but she'd also shown that kindness, courage, and a little faith could fix so much more.